John Carter stood at the viewport of Earth Defense Station Alpha, staring at the strange object that had appeared in orbit just hours ago. The metallic sphere wasn't from Earth, that much was certain. "Captain Carter, we've confirmed it's transmitting data," Lieutenant Frank Mitchell said, approaching with a tablet displaying various readings. "Definitely alien in origin." Carter nodded grimly. After years of scanning the stars for signs of extraterrestrial life, it seemed the aliens had found Earth first, and they had been watching. "How many more of these satellites have we located?" Carter asked. 7 so far, sir, all in geostationary positions above major population centers. Within days, the discovery rocked the foundations of human society. World leaders gathered in emergency sessions while military forces worldwide went on high alert. Panic might have ensued if not for what happened next. A massive ship appeared beyond the moon's orbit, dwarfing anything humans had ever constructed. Its message was broadcast simultaneously on all communication channels, in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are representatives of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your development and deem you ready for first contact. We come in peace." The alien vessel dispatched a smaller shuttle to land at a predetermined location in neutral territory. Captain Carter was among the delegation selected to meet the visitors. The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss, revealing a tall, slender being with iridescent purple skin and 4 arms. It wore an elaborate robe adorned with symbols that seemed to shift and change when viewed directly. "I am Ambassador Zelos of the Taraxian Empire, representative of the Galactic Council," the alien announced. "We welcome Earth to the greater community of spacefaring civilizations." Carter stepped forward. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth." The initial meetings seemed promising. The Taraxians shared information about the Galactic Council, a governing body of 12 advanced species that maintained order among hundreds of worlds. They spoke of trade opportunities, cultural exchanges, and technological advancement. But something felt off to Carter. The way Ambassador Zelos spoke about humans, with a subtle tone of superiority that reminded him of how Europeans once viewed indigenous peoples they encountered. During the 3rd day of negotiations, Earth's representatives formally requested to join the Galactic Council. "That would be premature," Ambassador Zelos replied, his upper arms making a dismissive gesture. "Your species is still quite young. Perhaps in a few centuries, once you've proven your stability. We understand our technology may be behind yours," said General Laura Bennett, "but we believe we can contribute meaningfully to the galactic community." The ambassador's eyes, 4 gleaming orbs of silver, narrowed slightly. "Humans are indeed resourceful, but the Council has protocols. Your planet has resources that could benefit the greater community. We propose a trade agreement instead. We provide technological advancements while you provide access to certain natural elements." That evening, during a private briefing, Carter voiced his concerns. "They're treating us like children," he said. "Or worse, like a resource to be exploited." Dr. Ben Howard, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, nodded. "I've been analyzing their language patterns. They used the same terminology when discussing Earth that they used for uninhabited resource planets. Unknown to the Earth delegation, aboard the Taraxian vessel, a very different conversation was taking place. The humans are more perceptive than anticipated," Ambassador Zelos said to his commander. "They sense our intentions." Commander Vrek's hologram flickered slightly. "It matters not. Their primitive weapons cannot stop our harvesting ships. Begin Phase 2 immediately." "What about the Council's non-interference protocols?" "The Council need not know everything," Vrek replied. "By the time they discover what we've done, Earth's resources will already be ours. These humans will serve the Taraxian Empire like all the others before them." On Earth, Captain John Carter stared at the night sky, unaware that humanity's greatest challenge was about to begin. The first explosions hit New York, Tokyo, and London simultaneously. Massive Taraxian warships appeared in Earth's atmosphere without warning, their weapons turning skyscrapers to dust and leaving smoking craters where parks once stood. Admiral Susan Miller was having breakfast when the call came in. Within minutes, she was in the Pentagon's command center, watching in horror as satellite feeds showed cities burning across the globe. "They didn't even declare war," she whispered, her coffee mug forgotten in her hand. "No ultimatum, no warning." "Multiple hostile craft detected over major cities on all continents," reported a young officer, his voice shaking. "Our fighter jets are engaging, but their shields are holding against our weapons." Miller straightened her uniform. 25 years in the Navy hadn't prepared her for this, but she'd be damned if she'd show fear now. "Order all available military assets to defensive positions around civilian evacuation routes," she commanded. "And get me the president." As Earth's military forces scrambled to respond, the Xeraxians established landing zones in resource-rich areas. Their ground troops, 9-foot-tall armored soldiers with advanced energy weapons, secured mining sites while their ships continued bombarding military installations. In a research bunker beneath Colorado, Dr. Alan Hayes worked frantically to understand the alien technology. The government had secretly recovered parts from one of the monitoring satellites before the attack. "There's a pattern to their shield modulation," he told his team of scientists, many of whom had lost families in the first wave of attacks. "If we can match our weapon frequencies to these fluctuations, we might penetrate their defenses." Hayes hadn't slept in 36 hours. His wife and daughter were in Chicago when the attacks began. He hadn't heard from them since. Above ground, humanity fought back with everything they had. Russian tanks fired at alien ground troops in the Ural Mountains. Chinese fighter jets sacrificed themselves in coordinated attacks against harvester ships near Beijing. American submarines launched missiles at Xeraxian vessels hovering over the Atlantic. Nothing seemed to work. Human weapons bounced off alien shields or barely scratched their hulls. "We can't keep fighting like this," Miller told the Joint Chiefs during an emergency meeting in a mobile command center. "We're losing too many people for minimal damage." General Peter Owens slammed his fist on the table. "So we just surrender? Let them strip mine our planet?" "No," Miller replied calmly. "We change tactics. Conventional warfare isn't working. We need to go underground, gather intelligence, find their weaknesses." 3 weeks after the initial attack, Earth's formal resistance ended. Major governments issued surrender statements as Xeraxian mining operations expanded across the planet. Ambassador Zelos appeared on global broadcasts, now speaking as planetary governor. "Your cooperation ensures your survival," he announced. "Resistance will only bring more suffering. The resources we harvest will benefit the greater galactic community." But beneath the surface of surrender, humanity was far from defeated. In abandoned subway tunnels beneath Chicago, Admiral Miller established the first command post for Earth's resistance. Similar bases emerged in mines, caves, and bunkers worldwide. "They think they've won," Miller told the assembled soldiers and civilians. "They think we're just going to lie down and die. But they don't understand humans very well." Dr. Hayes arrived with data from his research team. "We've identified 3 potential weaknesses in their technology," he said, spreading diagrams on a makeshift table. "And we've captured enough of their equipment to start reverse engineering their weapons." Outside, Xeraxian harvesters tore into the earth, extracting minerals and metals. The aliens believed they had crushed human resistance in record time, another primitive species subdued for the glory of the Empire. They didn't realize that the real war was just beginning. 6 months into the occupation, Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez crouched behind the remains of a destroyed Xeraxian transport. Her small team of resistance fighters moved silently through the shadows, approaching the alien mining facility that dominated what was once Yellowstone National Park. "Security drones on schedule," whispered Ryan Cooper, checking his Modify tablet. "Gap in patrol in 30 seconds. Rodriguez nodded. Her unit had been hitting Xeraxian outposts across North America, gathering intelligence and stealing technology. Tonight's mission was their most ambitious yet: planting monitoring devices inside a primary processing facility. Remember, no engagement unless absolutely necessary, she reminded her team. We're ghosts, not heroes. The Resistance had learned painful lessons in the early days. Direct confrontation meant death. Stealth and sabotage were the only viable strategies against an enemy with overwhelming technological superiority. When the drones passed, Rodriguez led her team through the gap in the perimeter. They moved quickly across open ground to the facility's maintenance entrance. Cooper attached a small device to the door's security panel, one of engineer Paul Wilson's inventions. Wilson had been a software developer before the invasion. Now he was the Resistance's most valuable asset. Working from the primary underground base in former mine shafts beneath the Appalachian Mountains, he had developed technology that could temporarily mask human biosignatures from alien sensors. We've got 3 minutes before their systems detect the intrusion, Cooper said as the door slid open. Inside, Rodriguez planted tiny surveillance devices at key locations. These would transmit encrypted data back to Resistance headquarters, helping them understand Soraxian technology and operations. As they worked, a conversation between two Soraxian officers echoed down the corridor. The council representative arrives tomorrow, said one. They want to evaluate our progress. The council. The second officer sounded nervous. I thought this operation wasn't sanctioned. It wasn't initially. But Command has convinced them this is a perfect test case. If we succeed here, similar resource extraction can be implemented on other primitive worlds. Rodriguez signaled her team to freeze as the aliens passed nearby. This was valuable intelligence, confirmation that Earth wasn't the only target, and that there were political divisions within the aliens' ranks. Meanwhile, in the underground Resistance headquarters, scientist Kevin Clark examined a captured Soraxian weapon. After months of study, he had successfully reverse-engineered several alien technologies. The energy modulation is the key, he explained to Admiral Miller. Their weapons draw power directly from these crystalline matrices. If we can reproduce these, we can build weapons that penetrate their armor. Miller nodded, studying the schematics. How soon can you produce prototypes? 2 weeks for the hand weapons. The larger cannons will take longer. Across the vast chamber, Wilson was supervising the construction of a new stealth system. His team had discovered that certain Earth minerals, when processed correctly, could block Soraxian scanning technology. The bunkers in Asia and Europe are already implementing the shielding, he told Miller. Soon we'll be completely invisible to their sensors. The Admiral moved to a large tactical display showing known Soraxian positions worldwide. Red markers indicated mining operations. Blue showed military installations. They think we're beaten, she said quietly. That's our advantage. 2 hours later, Rodriguez's team returned safely to their hidden base in the Rocky Mountains. The intelligence they gathered was immediately transmitted to headquarters. They mentioned other worlds, Rodriguez reported. Other species being targeted. We might not be alone in this fight. Miller considered this information carefully. If other species had been subjugated by the Soraxians and their Galactic Council, perhaps there were potential allies among the stars. Keep pushing, she told her commanders. We need more intel, more technology. The Soraxians think this is over, but Earth is just beginning to fight back. In the shadows of a conquered planet, humanity prepared for a war of liberation that would soon shock their oppressors to their core. Far beneath the Pacific Ocean, in what had once been a submarine manufacturing facility, Commander Daniel Grant surveyed the massive construction project that represented humanity's greatest hope. Through the reinforced glass of the observation deck, he watched as workers welded sections of the hull for Earth's first true warship. We're ahead of schedule on the Defiance, said Chief Engineer Olivia Nash, handing Grant a tablet with the latest progress reports. Dr. Brown's propulsion system passed all tests yesterday. Grant nodded, eyes fixed on the activity below. Similar shipyards operated in secret locations worldwide, beneath the Atlantic, in flooded mine shafts in Australia, in underwater caves off Japan's coast. The Exorexians controlled the land and air, but they'd largely ignored Earth's oceans, giving humanity the space needed to prepare their response. "How many ships are ready?" Grant asked. "5 destroyers are operational. 3 more will be complete by month's end. The Defiance will be our first capital ship." The ship below them was massive compared to the others, designed based on stolen Soraxian schematics, but modified with human innovations. Dr. Elizabeth Brown had made the critical breakthrough 8 months into the occupation when she deciphered the principles behind alien faster-than-light travel. In her laboratory adjacent to the shipyard, Brown was running final diagnostics on the FTL core. The cylindrical device pulsed with blue energy, stable but powerful enough to tear a hole in space-time. "All parameters nominal," reported her assistant, Greg Martinez. "The miniaturization modifications are holding." Brown allowed herself a small smile. The Soraxians' FTL drives were enormous, inefficient things. By adapting human fusion technology to alien principles, she created a drive system twice as powerful at half the size. "The aliens think bigger is always better," she said. "That's where they underestimated us. Humans have always had to do more with less." Elsewhere in the facility, weapons specialist Charlie Hudson supervised the installation of hybrid weapons systems on a newly completed destroyer. His team had successfully combined Soraxian energy weapons with human ballistic technology, creating projectiles that could penetrate alien shields. "The kinetic impactors carry an energy payload," he explained to a group of ship captains. "Their shields are tuned to deflect either energy or physical objects, not both simultaneously." At that moment, a secure transmission arrived from Commander Grant's office. He excused himself to take the call, recognizing Admiral Miller's encrypted signature. "Operation Shadowlance is a go," Miller told him without preamble. "Commander, you have authorization to capture the Soraxian scout ship." Grant's mission had been in planning for months. Intelligence had identified a small Soraxian vessel that routinely patrolled the edges of the solar system. Capturing it intact would provide crucial technology and tactical data. "We'll launch in 6 hours," Grant confirmed. "The Phantom is ready." The Phantom was the smallest of Earth's new ships, designed specifically for stealth operations. Its hull absorbed sensor signals rather than reflecting them, and its engines left minimal energy signatures. It was humanity's ghost in space. As Grant assembled his strike team, Dr. Brown delivered the final component, a device designed to temporarily disable Soraxian systems without destroying them. "The EMP is calibrated to their specific frequency range," she explained. "You'll have approximately 3 minutes to board before their backup systems engage." That night, the Phantom slipped from its underwater berth and rose silently through the ocean's surface. Once in the atmosphere, it accelerated rapidly, leaving Earth behind in minutes rather than the hours conventional rockets required. Grant stood on the bridge, watching as the blue of Earth's atmosphere gave way to the blackness of space. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency, all of them aware of what was at stake. "Target vessel detected at coordinates match intelligence predictions," reported Lieutenant Sam Wilson from the sensor station. "They haven't detected us." Grant nodded, feeling the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. "Take us in," he ordered. "It's time to show the Exorexians that humans are full of surprises." Captain Lisa Wright gripped the command chair of the EDF Vengeance as the countdown reached 0. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet intensity, each aware that humanity's future hung in the balance. "All ships report ready, Captain," said First Officer Jake Simmons. "Earth Defense Fleet standing by for your command." Wright took a deep breath. After 18 months of preparation, the hidden fleet was about to reveal itself to their alien oppressors. 47 warships waited in formation beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, invisible to Soraxian sensors thanks to the stealth technology developed by Earth scientists. "Begin Operation Uprising," she ordered. Across Earth's oceans, the water's surface erupted as humanity's fleet rose skyward. In New York, terrified Soraxian miners watched as warships emerged from the Hudson River. Near Tokyo, 3 destroyers burst from beneath Tokyo Bay. Outside Sydney, massive ships rose from the harbor, water cascading from their hulls. Aboard the Soraxian command vessel hovering above what remained of Chicago, Commander Freck received multiple emergency signals. "Unknown vessels detected. They're appearing everywhere," reported his tactical officer, mandibles clicking with agitation. "Impossible," Freck snarled. "The humans have no space capability. We destroyed all their launch facilities." The main screen showed dozens of ships rising through Earth's atmosphere. Ships of clearly human design, but incorporating Soraxian technology. Before he could issue orders, warning alarms blared throughout the ship. Multiple targeting locks. They're firing. The first barrage from Earth's fleet struck with devastating precision. The hybrid weapons that Eric Johnson and his team had developed performed exactly as designed. Kinetic projectiles carrying energy payloads that disrupted Soraxian shields before impact. "Direct hits on all primary targets," reported Johnson from his station on the Vengeance. The former software engineer had become the fleet's weapons specialist, his understanding of both human and alien systems proving invaluable. Captain Wright watched the tactical display as the Soraxian command ship listed to one side, its engines damaged. "All ships, press the advantage. Target their weapons and propulsion systems," she ordered. "Remember the plan. Disable, don't destroy unless necessary." The Soraxians had been caught completely unprepared. Their arrogance had led them to believe humans incapable of mounting any significant resistance, much less developing space warfare capability. Now they scrambled to respond as Earth's ships executed perfectly coordinated attacks around the globe. In orbit, Admiral Miller directed the space-based portion of the assault from her flagship, the Defiance. Larger than any other human vessel, it carried the most powerful weapons Earth had developed. "The Soraxian fleet is attempting to regroup at coordinates Alpha 7, reported her tactical officer. Miller nodded. "Perfect. Spring the trap." A second wave of Earth ships, hidden until now behind the moon, moved into position, catching the retreating Soraxian vessels in a devastating crossfire. On the surface, Earth's ground forces emerged from hiding. Armed with reverse-engineered Soraxian weapons, they struck mining facilities and military outposts simultaneously. Lieutenant Rodriguez led the assault on the Yellowstone facility, her team moving with ruthless efficiency. "Remember, capture their commanders alive," she told her squad. "We need intelligence on their homeworld." By nightfall, the tide had turned decisively. Most Soraxian ships had been destroyed or disabled. Those still capable of FTL travel fled Earth's solar system, abandoning their ground forces. Captain Wright watched from the Vengeance's bridge as the last major Soraxian vessel attempted to escape Earth's gravity well. "Do we pursue?" asked Simmons. Wright nodded. "Track their course. They'll lead us straight to their central command." She opened a channel to Admiral Miller. "Phase 1 complete. Admiral, the Earth is secure." Miller's voice came through clearly. "Well done, Captain. Begin Phase 2. We're taking the fight to them." As Earth began the process of rebuilding, its fleet prepared for something no one had considered possible just months before, bringing war to the stars. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the massive doors swung open. 12 representatives from the most powerful species in the galaxy sat in a semicircle on elevated platforms, their expressions ranging from shock to outrage as Admiral Susan Miller walked in flanked by her officers. Behind them, through the massive viewports that dominated one wall of the chamber, the Earth fleet hung in space. 40 warships in perfect formation, weapon systems clearly visible. "This is unprecedented," exclaimed Councillor Zeth, the Arcturian representative, his crystalline body flashing with patterns of alarm. "Armed vessels in the sacred neutral zone. Security, remove these primitives immediately." The security forces, tall, armored beings from various species, hesitated, looking at the humans and their weapons, then back at the councillors. "I suggest you reconsider that order," Miller said calmly. She wore her formal Earth Defense Force uniform, medals gleaming under the chamber's lights. "We're here to negotiate, but we're fully prepared to demonstrate our capabilities if necessary." The head of the council, a Draconid elder named Xorl, leaned forward. His scaled face showed no emotion, but his tail twitched with agitation. "The human species was not granted an audience," he stated. "The Xoraxian Empire handles all matters concerning your world." Captain John Carter stepped forward, placing a data crystal on the central table. "The Xoraxian Empire is no longer in a position to speak for Earth," he said. "Their invasion fleet has been destroyed. Their mining operations on our planet have been dismantled. Their forces have been expelled from our solar system." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Xoraxian representative, a thin figure in elaborate robes, stood up. "These claims are absurd. Humans are a primitive species barely capable of reaching their own moon. They could not possibly defeat an Imperial fleet. And yet, here we are," Miller replied. She gestured to the data crystal. "This contains footage of our counterattack and the subsequent pursuit of your retreating forces to the Xoraxian homeworld. It also contains evidence that the Xoraxian Empire violated multiple council laws regarding first contact protocols and non-interference directives." The council members exchanged glances. Many looked at the Xoraxian representative with newfound suspicion. "We also have evidence," continued Miller, "that Earth is not the first world the Xoraxians have illegally harvested. We've identified at least 7 other species who suffered similar invasions, all with the implicit approval of this council." This statement caused an uproar. Several councilors began speaking at once, some denying knowledge, others demanding proof. Thorol raised a clawed hand for silence. "What are Earth's demands?" he asked, his voice carrying the weight of centuries. Miller straightened. "First, formal recognition of Earth as a sovereign world with full rights in galactic affairs. Second, immediate reparations for damage caused by the Xoraxian invasion. Third, assistance in locating and liberating other worlds subjugated by the Xoraxian Empire with council approval." "You dare to make demands of the council?" the Xoraxian representative hissed. "We have existed for millennia before your species even discovered fire. And yet your ships burn just as easily as ours," replied Captain Carter. "Perhaps age doesn't guarantee wisdom." From the back of the human delegation, Eric Johnson monitored communications with the fleet. He leaned forward, whispering to Admiral Miller. "Multiple ships are powering up weapons in the outer system," he reported quietly. "Xoraxian reinforcements, most likely." Miller nodded almost imperceptibly, then addressed the council again. "We anticipated treachery," she said. "That's why only half our fleet is visible. The rest are currently targeting every major military installation in this system." Zorl's eyes narrowed. "You bluffed, human." Without looking away, Miller spoke into her communicator. "Defiance, execute demonstration Alpha." Outside the viewport, a flash of light appeared in the distance. Moments later, the Council's tactical displays showed the destruction of an unmanned defensive platform at the system's edge. "That was one ship, firing one weapon, at minimal power," Miller said. "We did not come to start a war, but we are prepared to finish one if necessary. Now shall we discuss recognition of Earth's sovereignty like civilized beings?" The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was a silence filled with grudging respect and fear. The grand chamber of the new Galactic Assembly gleamed with light from 100 worlds, where once the Galactic Council had ruled with unchallenged authority. Now representatives from dozens of species, including many formerly subjugated worlds, gathered as equals. Captain John Carter adjusted his formal uniform as he prepared to address the assembly. 3 years had passed since Earth's fleet had forced the Council to acknowledge humanity's place among the stars. In that time, the galaxy had transformed in ways few could have imagined. "The Earth delegation may speak," announced the assembly chairperson, a tall being from the Andromeda spiral whose species had also thrown off Xoraxian control. Carter stepped to the central podium, looking out at the gathered representatives. 3 years ago, Earth stood alone against oppression, he began. Today, we stand together with 27 formerly subjugated worlds in a new alliance based on mutual respect and cooperation. The Alliance of Free Worlds had emerged from the ashes of the old order. With Earth's help, planets that had suffered under resource extraction programs had liberated themselves and joined together for mutual protection and advancement. The technology exchange program has exceeded all expectations, Carter continued. Dr. Hayes reports that the medical techniques shared by the Centauri have reduced disease on Earth by 60%, while our agricultural methods have helped end food shortages on Proxima 3. In a laboratory back on Earth, Dr. Alan Hayes supervised the adaptation of alien medical technology to human physiology. What had begun as a desperate effort to understand enemy weapons had evolved into an unprecedented collaboration between species. The neural regeneration is working, he told his team, now including scientists from 6 different worlds. The paralysis treatment will be ready for human trials next month. Throughout the galaxy, similar scenes played out. On the formerly devastated mining world of Keldar, Earth engineers worked alongside local specialists to restore ecosystems damaged by Xeraxian harvesting. In Earth's oceans, Aquarian scientists helped repair coral reefs while learning human conservation techniques. At the assembly, Carter moved to the main purpose of his address. Today, I'm pleased to announce that the Earth Defense Fleet will establish permanent bases in the Orion and Cygnus sectors, providing protection for developing worlds against any who would seek to exploit them. This announcement drew approving murmurs. Earth ships had become renowned throughout the galaxy, not for their size or power, but for their effectiveness and the skill of their crews. Where the old council had used overwhelming force, Earth relied on innovation and adaptability. We remember what it means to be vulnerable, Carter said, and we will not allow others to suffer as we did. The Xeraxian representative shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His once mighty empire had been reduced to a fraction of its former size, forced to pay reparations to worlds it had exploited. The former council races had learned a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Miller stood on the observation deck of Defiance, watching new ships under construction. The Earth fleet now served as peacekeepers throughout the sector, respected and sometimes feared. Admiral, we've received the trade proposals from the Regelian Confederation, reported Commander Grant, now her chief of staff. They're offering access to their Dyson Sphere technology in exchange for our stealth systems. Miller nodded. Approve the exchange, but include the safety protocols we discussed. Some technologies require responsibility. As she looked down at the blue planet below, Miller thought about how far humanity had come. From near destruction to becoming a cornerstone of a new galactic order in just 3 years. Back at the assembly, Carter concluded his address. Earth does not seek to build an empire. We've seen where that path leads. Instead, we offer partnership. Together, we can build a galaxy where advancement comes not from exploitation, but cooperation, where strength is measured not by dominance, but by how we lift each other up. As he stepped away from the podium to applause from dozens of worlds, Carter reflected on humanity's journey. Earth had indeed taken a vicious revenge against those who had attacked it. But their greatest victory hadn't been in battle. It had been in creating something new from the ashes of conflict, a galaxy where no species would ever again be dismissed as primitive or unworthy of respect.